Hello, everyone. I'm Whitney Will from Star Hearth Astrology, and I'm here today to talk to you about the new moon in Aquarius that takes place on February 11th, so this Thursday. The exact moment of the full moon is in the middle of the day, so about 12:05 p.m. Mountain Time where I am, so you can just adjust that for whatever your time zone is. And coming into this new moon, so we have new moons in general are a time of renewal, of planting seeds often. And I feel like this is kind of my mission to talk about this. Often we don't know what those seeds are. And so this whole kind of like, you can bullet journal your new moon or like make your manifesting wish list of your new moon, I feel like is a little bit of a misnomer, because the new moon, to the extent that the moon represents our unconscious and kind of the stuff that is deeper than our conscious mind, that has to do with biological systems and cycles of nature and things that are alive regardless of kind of capitalism's use for them or our thoughts about their productivity or their worth, right? The moon is connected to all of those things. And so the moon is going to be a tool, just as powerful a tool, manifesting kind of what we don't want as what we think we do. And so it's this piece of karma that stands outside our conscious mind, right? And that's part of our karmic path, is the reconciliation between our conscious mind and what we think we're doing and what we think we want, and what life has in store for us. So that's where we are. And we're all really in the Aquarius place because we have 6 planets in Aquarius right now. And with the new moon, we'll have the sun, the moon, Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, and Saturn, also the feminine asteroid Pallas Athena. And so we've got a lot of Aquarian energy building up. And that, I feel like, is kind of, it's really this strain of intellect pulling us out of our bodies. But a new moon is kind of a new growth cycle. And so what's really beautiful about this new moon is that we have all of these planets here. We've got this big group of, every visible planet besides Mars. And so we can kind of do our best design work and our best growth work. Now, because it is a new moon, some of that is going to be unconscious. And Aquarius is a sign that is not a huge fan of the unconscious, right? It is this rationalizing place where we can step outside of ourselves and view ourselves in the context of history, in the context of abstract ideas, ethics, the good of the many over our kind of embedded role in whatever matrix that we live in. And so Aquarius stands outside. And so there's this kind of way in which we're all kind of viewing our social structure, or straining to view ourselves in the context of our social structure in a way that may feel uncomfortable and a little bit impersonal and a little bit disembodied. And we're being asked to respond to that in ways that maybe aren't comfortable for us. I think there's a lot of pandemic fatigue. And so we're seeing that kind of in the collective. And so I think in the context of that, this new moon is really, really beautiful because it's inviting us to change our social roles. And that doesn't mean always doing the harder thing, although with Saturn, sometimes that does mean that. But this new moon, and why I'm so excited about it, is that there is a Venus-Jupiter conjunction that happens just a few hours before the new moon. So it's in the new moon chart. We'll have that conjunction kind of crystallized into the qualitative time for the next 2 weeks until the full moon, but also for the next full lunar month until our Pisces new moon, which happens on March 13th. So we have kind of this very lucky, the two benefics, Jupiter, the greater benefic, and Venus together in the chart of this new moon. And that just feels like this powerful boon of kind of social harmony and optimism and kind of the better angels of our natures really coming together for some hope. And so I'm hoping on a collective level, we'll feel some restoration of hope during this new moon. And then on a larger context, right, we'll see this new moon grow in several ways. So it will grow and culminate with the Virgo full moon. With the Virgo full moon. In a few weeks. I can't believe we're already there. And then it will also culminate with the Leo full moon, which we will have at the end of July. So we've got several kind of expanses of time with which we can view the energy of this new moon. And so I think really the way to connect with it personally is to sit with the house that Aquarius fills in your chart. So using whole sign houses, that's going to be a full house, a full kind of context and area of your life. And really meditate on that. Or you don't have to meditate, but however you kind of clear your conscious mind and listen to deeper themes that move through your body or move through your spiritual body, because they will tell you what it's time for. And Aquarius is Saturn's sign, and Saturn is the relentless marching forward of time. And so, right, we kind of get what are the indelible patterns. And I think, right, there's this kind of the poem of Saturn is that Saturn looks like linear time, but is really just a very long cycle, and especially very long when compared to the moon. They have some beautiful kind of symmetry in that the average time it takes the moon to go around the zodiac is 27.39 days, whereas for Saturn it's 27.39 years. And so how beautiful, right? What is an eon in the context of the moon is really just a longer cycle. And so that's what we have in Aquarius. We have these long cycles of history, and Aquarius looks to the future by looking to the past. And so it's a time to kind of learn from the past in whichever house Aquarius is in. And so one of the ways that we can look back is look at the last time that Saturn was in Aquarius, which was 91, 92, and then back in 93, retrograded back in. And so whatever was happening for you, and now for some of us, that's hard, because for me, that was babyhood and toddlerhood. And so I discovered the world. And I discovered myself in the context of the world. Now, that might have been a limited context as I was a baby. And so, right, so part of what's happening, the renewal that's happening in my own chart is rediscovering the world and rediscovering myself in it. And I'm an Aquarius rising, so that's a very personal way that shows up for me. But that can show up for any of us in these different contexts. So spending some time with that Aquarius thing. And you can even look deeper, right? Aquarius is impersonal. So it's not just your chart, but wherever it is, whichever house it's in, looking for the deeper patterns of thought in world and human history that speak about that area of your life. So, looking at the history of identity in the first house, philosophies of how we connect with our resources and how stuff grounds us in our second house, communication and technology in the third house. What is the idea of the foundation? What has home meant historically in the fourth house? And so forth as we go along. So it's a place to examine underlying structures and to look at how these structures of thought are building our current reality. And really what Aquarius does is connect the past to the future. And so we look to the past and we realize how those patterns are going to inform our future. And then we sit with the newness and the growth, with the blessing of both Venus and Jupiter on this beautiful Aquarius new moon. So I wish you a happy 6 months until the Aquarius full moon, and a happy 2 weeks until we come to our next full moon, and a happy lunar month. If you enjoy listening to my voice or hearing what I have to say about astrology, you can like and subscribe to my channel and share it with other people that might enjoy it. And thank you so much for being here.